Bueno, estamos en Múnich en la presentación de la nueva Under Armour Hover Infinite y tenemos el privilegio de hablar con nada más y nada menos que Dave Dombrow, jefe de producto de Under Armour a nivel mundial, y vamos a preguntarle todo aquello que el tiempo nos permita y que tenemos en mente sobre la marca. First thing first, Dave, thank you for taking the time to talking to us.
No problem.
So Under Armour has been known for a while as a brand which likes to innovate a lot. Some would argue that even too much. In the past 7 years, you've launched Micro G, Charge, and now Hover. Runners in Europe and in the US like innovation, but they also value consistency. And this may be penalizing the Under Armour sales. Is the goal to continue innovating the main technology every 2 or 3 years, or is the final goal to stick with a certain technology, cushioning technology?
Yeah, I mean, we're always going to keep innovating, right? But we are making we are going to be very consistent going forward, and we're going to get behind something, we're going to stick behind it, and then you're going to see us continue to improve it little by little, iteration after iteration. So back to your original question, consistency is going to become very important for us going forward, and you'll see us become even more consistent. But we never stop innovating, that's in our DNA.
Yeah, because I really separated Micro G from Hover, but how much of Hover or Micro G is there in Hover or Micro G?
Yeah, Micro G and Hover are actually completely different. Charged and Hover actually have some similar ingredients and are somewhat related actually. But Hover, of course, is different also because beyond the chemistry difference, it also has the energy web as part of the story as well, which of course Charged and Micro G don't.
You talked earlier about about Dow Chemicals and
yes.
being the company in charge of the fabricating or the compound of the Hover.
Definitely our partner to drive the Hover, yes.
Yeah, they have now merged with DuPont. Is this going to be in any way, influence in any way the development of new materials?
Yeah, I mean, we already had, even prior to that, we already had a great relationship with them, and we already had a consistent innovation roadmap with them. So the merger, of course, we see that as only beneficial, and I cannot speak for their company, obviously, but we see it as beneficial. We already had a great working relationship, and we already had great things going, so it's all positive.
Okay, the Nike Vaporfly has been the most wanted running shoe by fast runners in the last year.
Sure.
Many brands are already working on a shoe that imitates the design or the performance of the Vaporfly. Is Under Armour entering this sort of war?
Yeah, of course, we're not into imitating anybody. As far as maybe macro trends of where things are going, we of course pay attention and regarding energy return and propulsion and things along that. Of course, we look towards things regarding that, but we'll do it in our own way, and we work with our innovation team to seek out a better solution.
So Hover is all about cushioning, about the average runner, but perhaps inside Under Armour we don't have a fast running shoe. Is that going to change?
Well, we do. We're bringing, along with the Hover Infinite, which is our main story that we're launching right now, we are also bringing a shoe, the new Velocity, the Hover Velocity. And with that shoe, it is geared more towards pushing the pace, and it is a tempo shoe that will be perfect for a lot of people on race day.
Is that a racing flat that a sub 3 minute per kilometer athlete could wear on a? I mean, the average Kenyan.
It's a fast shoe. I wouldn't call it a racing flat, but I think the lines of racing flats and fast trainers, that line is getting very blurry now, and so I wouldn't classify it as a racing flat, but I wouldn't say that means it's any slower than what it could be. It's a push the pace tempo shoe.
We recently met with Carson Caprara, chief designer at Brooks,
yep.
And he told us in an interview that the most significant change in the running shoe world in the next 5 years was going to be that each runner could design his own personalized shoes. In Under Armour, we seem to be looking at that the goal is to collect data while running and then use that to choose among the running shoes already designed. What do you think about the next 5 years in the running shoe world? What is going to be the most changing thing?
Well, I mean, I think there is a macro trend around personalization, as a trend and as a path forward. Obviously, the way we're collecting data feeds right into that, and with data, you can also use that as a coaching and as a recommendation tool as well. So we see that as an important feature. But like I said before, we will go about it our own way. But yeah, personalization that is going to be a major thing going factor.
In the energy web we find in the Hover Infinite reminds us of the Adidas Dillinger web of the 80s. Did you get some inspiration from it? And what are your top 3 shoes from the 80s and the 90s when you were growing up as a shoe designer?
Okay, yeah, no, the Hover web is really an outcome of what we needed to control the foam's displacement. It really is that simple, and it's co-molded with the foam itself. So it's maybe a little bit different than the past reference. As far as the 80s goes, I had lots of favorites, and I grew up also besides running, I grew up a basketball fanatic as well, so lots of shoes, but I won't get into them. So.
Not going to mention other brands. Yeah. Okay. Geometry, type of material. What's the percentage, or what's the importance that geometry makes in the cushioning of a shoe? Is it all the material? Is it all geometry? Is it 70-30?
It's a combination of both, but geometry is very, very important. It's one of those things that actually doesn't get talked about that much, but it's very underrated. And even if you look at our shoes, there's subtle geometries and curves depending on where you crash and how you land and how we want you to roll that are worked into the shoe. It's super important. It really comes down to even the millimeters, depending on how you want a shoe to run. So we pay attention to everything, and geometry is definitely up there, right there with the foam itself.
Regarding the upper, we see that every major brand is incorporating the knit in their upper, but we don't see that as much in Under Armour. Do you think knit is the final thing that is going to make that performance fit that every brand wants in their running shoes?
No, I think there's many solutions. We do have some knit uppers, and there's even different levels of knit. Some, depending on what you're going for, some that have no stretch at all, some that have stretch in different areas, and some that are just stretchy all over. But no, there's many solutions, and with the Hover Infinite, we have a breathable engineered mesh that's not knit. But we found that was the best solution for this particular shoe. So there's many different solutions, and knit can be a great solution for one shoe, but maybe not another. So.
One last question. Is there something new prepared for Dennis Smith Jr. next week? Come on.
Oh,
we won't heard this before.
Yeah, I can say that we are basketball fanatics, so watch the TV.
Okay, thank you very much for taking the time for us.
All right, thank you. Great.